Sorry, it takes 1 second to get. I'll turn this off. Right. Oh, did I get logged out somehow? No. Oh, no, I'm here. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time on this Friday evening. We are here tonight with Lena Franklin. She is a medicine woman based in Atlanta, Georgia. And Lena and I met at Remind Psychedelic Business Forum. And if I had only just flown down to meet Lena, I think that would have made the whole journey worth it. But luckily there was so much more to that conference. But we are so excited to hear from her tonight on the sort of intersection of meditation and sacred plant medicines. Lena travels around the world leading groups in meditation, and she utilizes the sacred plant medicines. We actually bonded over the 508c1a structure of our ministries. Universal Ministry of Transcendence is your presenting organization today. And amazingly, Lena is going to be here in August at the Arctic Visions Psychedelic Conference, the very first psychedelic conference in Anchorage, Alaska, put on by the Alaska Entheogenic Awareness Council. Lena is going to be one of the speakers, so you get a taste for what she does tonight. She's going to lead us in a meditation, and I am so, so excited to present to all of you the amazing Lena. She is just a beautiful person inside and out, and I am really grateful that you came on to share with us tonight your medicine. So thank you.
Thank you, Gabby, so much. And thank you to everyone who is here and everyone who will receive this message and the teachings. I really am incredibly grateful that Remind happened because, when you meet someone initially and there's like this potent recognition, I felt that deeply with Gabby. And I'll begin with really where my journey started. And it speaks to the intersection that we're here to dive into, which is the intersection of meditation and plant medicine, and specifically for the work that moves through me and through the ministry that we have here is, working with different strains of fungi, and really honoring the sacred medicine from more of the shamanic, ancient indigenous lens. So my upbringing was very much an intersection of East and West. I grew up with a Buddhist Vietnamese mother and a Christian Presbyterian dad from the South. And my gravitation was really towards the spiritual practices of meditation and rituals connected to honoring our ancestors. And my mom was my first spiritual teacher in this particular lifetime. So she taught us, I have a sister, she taught us how to meditate, how to really practice compassion. I remember as a child, watching the news and seeing all of the horrific war and, all the things that we see on the news. And she would take us to the family ancestral altar to pray, to meditate, to be in a state of compassion, which is that feeling that arises when we are presented with the experience of suffering. And those experiences planted very deep seeds within me that began to grow over time. And so, I always knew from a very, very young age that I was meant to help humanity, help people, but I didn't know what it looked like. And so kind of fast forwarding, I was in grad school to get my master's in social work, and my mom suddenly passed from a stroke at the age of 57. And so that was my initial spiritual awakening. And so it was through the portal of the suffering, the pain of grief that guided me back to the meditations and spiritual practices that she originally taught me. And so in my meditation practice and in my yoga practice, I went back more deeply to yoga as well. I began to see and feel that my energy was so much more expansive than the constrictive and excruciating grief I was experiencing. And there was something there that I was meant to share with the world. And so I, graduated and started my private practice as a psychotherapist and began teaching people the art of meditation and embodied practices more from that Buddhist psychology lens. And I saw that my clients were actually getting better because, in traditional therapy, it can be helpful in the processing piece, but it can also be a retracing over and over of the stories that perpetuate the neural pathways that are fueling those subconscious beliefs that keep us stuck. So through the medicine, so I use the word medicine in a more, widely applicable way. Medicine to me is our soul's gifts. It's the way that we're able to tap into those capacities to heal ourselves. And the plant medicines and the entheogens really are mirrors and reflections back to us that remind us that we have this capacity within us. So going back to meditation, I was, seeing how I personally and my clients in my private practice were actually healing because they were taking responsibility of their own power to heal themselves through their meditation practice. And so meditation was really my entry point, kind of my deepening into discovering plant medicine. And for me and for, our organization. So right now our organization is called the East Institute. We're actually shifting, we're shifting names and kind of restructuring right now, but it's all about the medicines that come directly from Pachamama, Mother Earth. And so meditation guided me directly to grandmother ayahuasca in Peru. So for me, that was my first experience with plant medicine, and my second kind of initiation, if you will, and dark night of the soul experience was being in a marriage that truly was the embodiment of the attachments that kept me in this place of pain and illusion. So, I married my college sweetheart, and in college, I played soccer, he played basketball. Everything looked beautiful on the outside. It was, the mirror of what we're programmed to want. And it was fun, but also it was really empty, bankrupt emotionally, spiritually. And so that really taxed my nervous system, my energy field. And there came a point where I was really thriving in my work as a psychotherapist, as a meditation teacher, teaching around the globe, but my energy centers were completely depleted. And I remember one particular morning where I could literally barely get out of bed to go to work. And that's when I found my first teacher in energy medicine. And through energy medicine and really the call of grandmother ayahuasca, I found myself in Peru. And that was the beginning of my journey with plant medicine many years ago. And so grandmother ayahuasca guided me into working with psilocybin and the sacred mushrooms, because I feel like there's a really wide application for the mushroom medicine, for psycho-emotional conditions and other imbalances and conditions. And so there I was, in this place of complete life disintegration. Everything was falling apart. And at the same time, I was finding my truth and my path through the alchemization of suffering, which brings me back to the topic that we're here to be with tonight, which is the intersection of meditation and plant medicine. plant medicine really creates this, it's like it brings up what we've been repressing for so many years. It is this, this teacher that shows us the work that we need to do. And I've found through my own personal healing journey and working with hundreds and hundreds of clients in this capacity that through plant medicine, we get this mirror, but it's up to us. It's our responsibility to actually take control and responsibility of our own healing path. And so that's the way that I work with clients. It's the way that I've worked personally with plant medicine, in that it's a tool, but it's one piece of, if you've ever seen a mandala, for example, the Tibetan Buddhist lineage, it's one piece of the entire mandala. It's one piece of the puzzle, if you will. And it's a reflection, right? And so it was in the moments where I was sitting on my meditation cushion where I saw the aspects of my psyche, my personality structure, my subconscious beliefs, where I was actually shown those gems, those access points into a deeper level of transformation and alchemization and embodiment of my truth. Because, we're all here. We all have our own stories. We have our own journeys, our own traumas, but the common denominators are really what's important. As humans, we're all here seeking to embody a life that is in alignment, that brings us joy and happiness and fulfillment and abundance and expansion, purpose. And if we can continue to relate to the sacred medicines in a way that, again, is a tool for us to embody the work that it takes in order to unlearn and heal our way back to that place of alignment, then of course the world would be a much different place. So, I'm not sure everyone's experience with sacred medicines, and we'll get to that in the Q&A portion, but that piece, I feel, especially in the psychedelic space, is so vital because of the collective conditioning around consumption, around capitalism, around disempowerment, because many of the Western models, I'll call them conventional Western models of treatment, actually teach us to give our power away to a pharmaceutical, to a doctor, to a practitioner, when we, in truth, objective truth is we have everything we need within us to heal what imbalances we carry. And the sacred medicines, the plants and fungi, teach us this at a very, very deep level. It's important to relate to the medicine as that versus giving our power away to the medicine, saying, this is going to heal me. Yes, it's going to bring you healing capacity, but it's our responsibility to do the work. And I feel that there's a potential, I'll say, at that intersection of plant medicine and meditation that can empower humanity in a different way than we're seeing. So if you think about, I want to just invite everyone here, if you think about one of the most challenging experiences in your life, it could be a loss or, a life shift, a disintegration of a reality that you knew, something that really rocked your world. You really be with that energy for a second. And as you're with the energy of that challenging experience or chapter in your life, the most important question becomes, what were the lessons I was meant to learn through that? That is why you're here as a soul in human form. The medicine teaches us this. It brings up the subconscious beliefs, the traumas, the repressed emotions and energies. And again, so it's up to us to see that. We can't heal what we're not aware of. And I firmly, embody and believe the truth that To journey inward. So to journey inward means to be willing to see the aspects of our subconscious mind, the aspects of our psyche, the aspects of our behavioral patterns, our thought patterns. To journey inward is our highest calling. We're so good. We're really good at projecting and being external and blaming and, really reacting from the ego. And the ego is our I-ness, our me-ness, that sense of identity. When we look in the mirror, we're like, this is my name, this is who I am, this is who I am in all of these different ways. These are my personality structures. We choose that. We wear that. And that's not bad. We don't want to demonize the ego. Of course, the medicines help us to soften the darker aspects of the ego. We can call it shadow work, the fear-based parts that we all carry out of survival, out of trauma. It's important to work with that part of ourselves. And again, the medicines and meditation, I don't see them as separate. I see them as a tapestry, interwoven together as a tool for our awakening, our collective awakening. So when I'm in ceremony, whether I'm facilitating or I'm receiving, I view it as a meditation practice, because we're in relationship with the sacred medicines. We're in relationship with the spirit. I was in ceremony this past weekend with a group of veterans and their spouses. And it was so beautiful to, be in that meditative space where nothing matters except this moment and what's arising in this moment. Again, without judgment, with full compassion. Presence is the greatest gift we can give ourselves and the world. And psychedelic plant medicines, especially those that come directly from Mother Earth, Pachamama, we call her Pachamama from the Peruvian shamanic lens. They show us the power of what it means to be present. Because the reality is, this moment is the only moment where life happens. And again, the monkey mind is really good at future tripping or being stuck in the past and really derailing ourselves from embodying the gift of the present. And so, the way I talk about plant medicines is really in that tapestry of interconnectedness and interdependence. So from Buddhist psychology, we call it interdependence, that everything is eternally and inextricably connected. If we see that, Mother Nature is our greatest teacher of that ecosystem consciousness. So again, I really want to emphasize that mirror, that ecosystem, that we're not separate from the medicine. Maria Sabina, beautiful Mazatec Mexican shaman and poet, she says, and remember, you are the medicine. And so that remembrance helps us to see that, when we connect with a spirit guide or we connect with an ancestor or we get an insight when we're in ceremony or when we're, we've maybe microdosed and we're in a state of presence, that is part of our true nature that we're remembering. We don't have to ingest medicine to be in that state of truth, of light. And so, if we're interested or we're already working with sacred plants or sacred fungi, we can continue to ask ourselves, how am I relating to this medicine? Even with a microdose, I work with clients in more ceremonial contexts, but also with microdosing, in the work around the medicine, right? Because the medicine shows us the work we need to do, and it's our responsibility to continue our inner work. It's becomes this ritual ingesting even a microdose is this ritual, this sacred ritual of I'm honoring my soul. I'm honoring what I need. I'm honoring this moment of self-love, which I'm choosing to thread throughout my life. And that is a medicine in itself, that intention. Our intentions, our thoughts create our behaviors, which create our reality. So again, if we're, I've spoken with many people who perhaps have been in many plant medicine ceremonies. But if you've been in 100 ayahuasca ceremonies and you're not doing anything different in your day-to-day life, then, it's even a really blissful or even challenging experience you're having in that ceremony that perhaps is not being embodied and integrated into day-to-day. So it's a continuous dialogue that you're having with yourself, and the medicines unlock those places in which perhaps we're not able to see because our ego defenses are so rigid, and we all have them. So we don't have to feel ashamed about them, even though, we're human and we do. But it's important to hold ourselves with compassion, knowing that this is the human condition. So I want to move into, I love working with the sacred medicines in conjunction with Buddhist psychology and the practice of meditation, which I'll be guiding you into a meditation, but I felt called to really kind of set the stage for that. And you may or may not have heard of the Four Noble Truths, which are tenets, we'll call them tenets of Buddhist psychology. You can call it mindfulness philosophy. The first noble truth, number one, is that as humans, we suffer. That is inevitable. In this wild world, the density of the earth plane, we are here to experience a level of suffering, and none of us are exempt from that. So it's important to understand that, because that can generate and cultivate a level of compassion, whether it's the death of a loved one, a divorce, losing a job, disease, illness, death. Those are teachers. You see, one of the very unique parts of being human is that we are meant to experience the spectrum of emotion, anything from elated bliss and joy, love, to deep despair, sadness, grief. And so it's important to honor the spectrum of emotion and not and this is, again, it's a practice because we're programmed and we're wired a certain way, but to honor every emotion that comes into the door of your consciousness as a visitor that's here arriving to teach you, and allowing that energy to move through. So, first noble truth, as humans, we suffer. That is inevitable. However, we have some agency in that. Pain is also a part of the human experience, but we have some agency in the suffering. Pain is the actual experience and the emotion that we have. Suffering does happen inevitably because of our wiring, but as we continue to reprogram our subconscious mind, we have agency over how much suffering we experience. So ultimately, pain is inevitable and suffering becomes optional as we evolve on our path of healing and transformation. And going a layer deeper with that, it really means that we're working with alchemizing resistance against suffering. So if we can embody a level of acceptance for the life changes, for the deaths, for the transitions, then we will suffer less. And that's an important, it's an important practice in the human experience. So first noble truth, inevitable, we experience pain and suffering. The second is that suffering stems from our attachment to comfort and our aversion to discomfort. So you can even use yourself as an example in this moment. Where are you attached to comfort? You know, even in this moment, you may be like, I'm hungry, or I want this room to be 10 degrees warmer, or whatever. We're always assessing the moment and wanting it to be different. When you want the moment to be different than what it is right now, then you're creating more suffering. And that again is so core, it's so fundamental to the meditation practice. And when we work with medicine and meditation, we can access a greater level of embodied acceptance for what the moment is, even if it's challenging. So it's transforming our relationship with challenge and discomfort. Expand it, we can call it like expanding the bandwidth of, or the spectrum of tolerance that we have for discomfort. And I think about, the divorce I went through, or my mom's death, and all of those experiences of pain and suffering expand, the level, the spectrum of tolerance. So it's a good practice. So noticing throughout your life where you're attaching to comfort and where you're pushing away discomfort, and how you can work with those and reprogram those without judgment. And that's the key. We're all human, so we're going to have those experiences. So the third noble truth is that there is a different way. And this third truth creates an energy of hope, right? So when we're in discomfort, when we're in pain, when we're in suffering, to know that there's a different way, and there's actually a path of cessation. There's a path of liberation that's available to us. That gives us hope. And hope, the energy of hope and the energy of faith, can bring us a level of resilience in a moment or in an experience that is uncomfortable. There is a different way. I think what's coming through right now too is to understand that, again, whether you're in ceremony and something's coming up like a trauma or, an uncomfortable energetic release, or you're in life. So it's no different. You are the medicine is you. You are living life. Life is a ceremony. I talk about it in this very kind of interwoven way because that's the point. That's the purpose of the medicine revealing itself to us as humans in this very expansive way on Earth right now, is that we're meant to embrace life as a living ceremony in order to heal humanity and Pachamama, Mother Earth. We need to get out of the compartmentalization of it. So back to the third noble truth. This is the truth of hope. It's the truth of faith. It's the truth of interdependence. Okay, if I know there's a different way, I know there's a path of cessation, I know there's a path of liberation, I can feel more ease and surrender in this moment of discomfort. And then the fourth noble truth is that the path of liberation from our suffering is walking the path of the Dharma. And I'm going to explain this. Dharma, and I want to also, say that we're talking about Buddhist psychology, but it can be applied to any spiritual or religious tradition. This is just a philosophy of life. And I have many, many clients who, maybe they're, more of the Christian faith or the Jewish faith, but Buddhist psychology is a philosophy we can layer on top of any spirituality or religious path. So the Dharma is the path of truth. It's the path of your purpose. The path of your purpose is where you feel alignment. Like, where do you feel lit up in your life? Like, Gabby started by showing me her beautiful store there. I mean, she's in her medicine woman embodiment of what she's meant to bring to the world. That's alignment. Where do we feel we're of service? Because when we're of service, we create sacred reciprocity between what we're putting out and what we're receiving. And it's important, again, going back to working with sacred medicines and entheogens, that we're not taking from the earth, that we're in sacred reciprocity. So every time we harvest a mushroom or we're in ceremony, we're also giving gratitude back. We may be given offering to Mother Earth, that we're in this flow of receiving and giving, receiving and giving. What are the origins of the medicine that we're ingesting? You know, if we're ingesting ayahuasca, you know, do we know where it comes from? Are we connected with the shaman or the village or the ayahuasquero where this particular medicine came from? You know, it's important to be in sacred reciprocity when we're working with sacred medicines, because that's what's going to create harmony and healing versus perpetuating an old paradigm of we call it the shadow masculine, of taking, consumption. So the fourth noble truth helps us to balance imbalances in sacred reciprocity. Because if you are living in your light, if you're living in balance, then there is this flow of receiving and giving in equal measure. And that's dharma, you know, walking the path of truth. Because we're not separate from the earth, we're not separate from the medicine, we're not separate from ceremony experiences. You know, these are, again, mirrors and reflections for us. So that is, we'll call it a path that I'll invite you to just be really mindful about. You know, we'll recap. First noble truth, we're humans, we suffer, we experience pain. The second is suffering stems from our attachment to comfort and our aversion to discomfort. Third is that there is a different way. There's a path of liberation and cessation. And then fourth is the path of liberation is the path of the Dharma, which is your truth. So you can see within yourself, because we're all our own laboratory. You know, when we feel out of alignment, when we feel depleted, when we feel like, you know, we're not feeling well, maybe we're stressed, depressed, anxious, we can non-judgmentally and compassionately ask, you know, where am I out of alignment with my truth? Where am I out of alignment with my Dharma? And then we can course correct. So being human is about really essentially, and this is my Buddhist meditation teachers would talk endlessly about this. It's not about being lost. It's about losing ourselves so we can find ourselves again. So actually, the contrast of feeling out of alignment creates wisdom. So contrast creates wisdom. And medicines show us that very thing. What do we need to work on? I remember, you know, being with a client not that long ago. I think it was about a week ago. And so we work with a lot of psycho-emotional conditions. We work with veterans, we work with addiction. And this particular woman who I love, my client who we've been working with her for, I think, a couple of years now, she has been in like 15 addiction treatment facilities, and none of it worked. I mean, she would go because her family wanted her to go, and then she would start drinking every time she came back. She found the path of plant medicine, and psilocybin has been, you know, just a game changer for her in many ways. And she saw, you know, in her last journey about a week ago, that she needed to cycle through, we'll call it the cycles of suffering, or we can call it the cycles of samsara, which is the Sanskrit word for suffering, samsara, in order to learn that she was worthy all along, right? She would drink when she felt like her husband was mad at her. She would drink when she would, you know, think about rejection from friends, or she would get emotionally triggered in some way from her family. But at the root, there was this subconscious belief about being unworthy. So again, the medicine experience is the same. They're the same intentions and goals as the meditation experience. How can we bring the subconscious into conscious awareness so we can reprogram the maladaptive patterns that keep us stuck in places that are not healthy for us? So she, she's like, why didn't I see this all along? All of those years of being in the addiction treatment facilities. And like, I've always been worthy. And so she saw all the faces of her unworthiness and was able to really feel like, not just think, because we can think things that are true, but to embody truth is very different. And the medicine just showed her all the different incarnations of how she would outsource her power and her worthiness onto other things and project it, and then numb herself out. So again, this is a path of empowerment. It's a path of really reclaiming who we are at the core. So I want to pause there because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for meditation. I'm just kind of tuning in if there's anything else I want to share there. You know, I was on the meditation path for many years before I discovered my path of being a medicine woman and the path of being an instrument of the sacred medicines. And there's a reason why this movement, we'll call it the reemergence of plant medicine, is at the forefront right now. There is a sense of urgency on our planet that, maybe meditation would get us there, but lifetimes down the line. And so I really feel passionate. I feel because of just the calling, I feel really passionate and dedicated to teaching about this intersection. So whatever resonates with you, take that, leave the rest. Everyone will relate to meditation and medicine differently, but it's an invitation to really explore what this intersection may mean to you, because it's a very sacred and unique relationship. So let's drop into a meditation together. So wherever you are, hopefully you're in a place where you can be comfortable, and just allowing yourself to surrender into your breath. So if it feels comfortable for you, you can close your eyes, whether you're seated or lying down. Beginning to tune into the flow of your breath without effort, just beginning to feel the coolness, the sensation of the inhale on the tips of the nostrils. And as you inhale and you breathe in, feel the torso, the heart, the belly expand with the inhale, breathing into the lower belly. And as you exhale, feel a relaxation, a release. And using your capacity for mindfulness, be present to each moment of the inhale and each moment of the exhale as you breathe into the lower belly. We call the lower belly the hara, as the Japanese yogis call it, the seat of your intuition, your inner knowing. And as you inhale, set your intention to receive what you need. So in your moment, this time in your life, what is it that you need? Maybe it's more presence, more groundedness, more peace, more self-love, abundance. Align the power of your intention with the inhale, taking in what you need. And with the exhale, let go of what doesn't serve you. And maybe what doesn't serve you is self-judgment, fear, worry, doubt. Stay present with the flow. This is sacred reciprocity, just like we honor the medicine with sacred reciprocity. You are the medicine. Inhaling, receiving what you need. Exhaling, letting go of what's not serving you. And continue to feel your body right here in this moment, this temple of your body, this sacred vessel. And dropping your energy into the soles of the feet and beginning to feel and see a vast and intelligent root system growing down into Pachamama, Mother Earth, and expanding and moving through all of her layers, past the dirt and the rocks, crystals. And you see your energy wrapping around her hot iron magma core. And then through your intention, as you inhale, begin to channel up this supportive, nurturing, electromagnetic energy, this ruby red energy, sparkling and shining, winding all the way up, all of your roots, moving up through the soles of your feet, up the meridians of your legs, up into your pelvic bowl, lower belly, tailbone, and begin to see and feel this sparkling ruby red energy swirling through the pelvic bowl in the lower belly. And you may notice different body sensations, tingling, aliveness, your capacity to channel energy available to you in any moment. So you're strengthening your foundation, your root chakra. And on the next inhale, begin to breathe that earth energy up into your heart. You may place one or both hands over the heart. So this is an energetic practice, grounding into the heart. And feel the magnificence, the supportive electromagnetic energy fueling and feeding your heart chakra. You see that ruby red energy gathering and pooling through the heart from throat to diaphragm, shoulder to shoulder, front to back, side to side. And stay with this as you inhale, again, receiving what you need in the heart from the earth. And as you exhale, cleansing the central channel and releasing anything that's not serving you. Maybe it's fear, stress, anxiety. Inhale, receive earth energy into the heart, your heart connected to the heart of Pachamama, Mother Earth, and all of her medicines. Exhale, release, let go, surrender. And as you breathe into the heart, bring into the forefront of your heart mind an intention that you're creating in your life. What are you feeding? What are you growing? What are you creating? What is that? Could be a specific circumstance, could be an energy like joy, love, compassion, gratitude. Could be more abundance in your life. We call that the sankalpa, the sacred vow you're making to yourself. So breathing that intention, that sankalpa, and feeding that seed of your sankalpa with this earth energy using the tool of your breath. And just resting here for a few more deep, slow breaths. Feeling the sacredness of your heart. And I'm going to read you a poem from poet and medicine woman Maria Sabina. As you receive these words into the heart. Cure yourself with the light of the sun and the rays of the moon, with the sound of the river and the waterfall, with the swaying of the sea and the fluttering of birds. Heal yourself with the mint and mint leaves, with neem and eucalyptus. Sweeten yourself with lavender, rosemary, and chamomile. Hug yourself with the cocoa bean and a touch of cinnamon. Put love in tea instead of sugar and take it looking at the stars. Heal yourself with the kisses that the wind gives you and the hugs of the rain. Get strong with bare feet on the ground and with everything that is born from it. Get smarter every day by listening to your intuition, looking at the world with the eye of your forehead. Jump, dance, sing so that you're happier. Heal yourself with beautiful love and always remember you are the medicine. And taking a few more deep, slow breaths here. Feeling the miraculousness of this body, the energy of your body, the energy of your breath, all here as incredible medicines for you. And slowly coming back into our sacred space together and taking your time. Thank you all so much for being in that practice with me. You all are so lovely. And I'd like to open it up for questions, comments, how that landed for you.
Thank
Whatever.
you so much, Lena. That was so beautiful. What an amazing meditation and presentation. Appreciate you so much. I'm sure people have questions. There's already questions here in the chat. So feel free. And if it's okay, I'm going to put your website in the chat. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And if you want to put any other, just in case anyone has to jump off, I'm going to put it there now. And I'm also going to turn off the live